So this is Dyre Cast. Uh, right
Round
now
two.
it's t-
Volume thing.
bringing it back. Right now
We're
it's
getting
just
there.
me and Dizzy. We're gonna bring back the cast for the first time. Now we're just gonna start off with a small introduction, answer some questions from Twitter, and just kind of go over what you can expect from the podcast, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes.
so Dizzy, you want to start off with why we're bringing back the podcast?
Why we are bringing it back? I mean, mainly it's obviously the intentions were to end the podcast when we were doing it. Obviously, it was me and you. The plan was it just the current state of Dire. We're in a really bad position when we were doing the podcast. We lost like 90, 80% of the roster. We went through obviously a tough time. We're stuck in a strut, I'd say, And I think having the podcast around it wasn't a good idea. So obviously we thought we'd just end the podcast online anyways, like just postpone it, I'd say. I wouldn't say end it. And
We well, we all thought we were gonna see each other, IRL a
very
lot
soon, yeah,
sooner.
that was the
That
plan.
was half of the reason.
I was expected to travel out to America like within like months in advance to that.
Right.
We already planned a trip to Anaheim, etc., and obviously make the go and visit Pro, get the house sorted out, like, and obviously do this whole thing in person.
Right.
But obviously, with the virus came around and everything just like stopped. Even with Dia, like not even just the podcast.
Well, everything
Everything
around
just
the
stopped.
world pretty much
I
stopped.
mean, literally, like everyone's lives inside Dia, the world stopped. Like we're in
Yeah.
lockdown, and I would just think having the podcast back then, it was just
It was a
right
burden we
project,
didn't want to
right
bear
idea.
at the
Yeah,
time.
we didn't need it, man. It was just the wrong fucking time. And
Yeah.
I think now with this current state of Dire and what we've got coming, I'd say resuming the podcast for now and then getting ready for the IRL. It's going to benefit not just the podcast but as well as Dire.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're bringing it back.
Yeah, and you can expect from DyreCast same thing you could always expect back then. We're just going to talk about current state of like gaming, esports, just other random things. Yeah, updates on projects.
Meeting the team as well. That's my huge thing for this. I want you all to meet the team because we've got probably the most underestimated and slept on roster without a doubt. When it comes to content like our roster, like they need more recognition.
Yeah.
And I think the podcast is going to be a platform for them to come on and to show you like who they really are, and hopefully that benefits them. And
yeah, and that's part of it. We're definitely going to be bringing on a lot of team members as guests. It's going to be me and Dizzy for the most part. Story might be here. The other owner might be here a few times. But for the most part, it's going to be me and Dizzy and a guest or two guests or maybe three. There's no set number yet.
I'm down for as many as we can fucking get.
Right. Like,
we're going to make this as an
15 people.
I'm fucking down for that. I'm down.
That'd be crazy, bro.
I just want, honestly, just to open another door for you guys. I think what you're saying to Twitter compared to what actually goes on. It's two different things, This is another platform for you guys to get to know. So I'm excited.
All right, you want to move on to the questions?
Anyway, just an introduction, yeah. It's just an introduction today, just to get things kicked off, and then we've got like a production manager now for the podcast, which is Emerald. He's just joined the day.
It's gonna be sick.
Incredible. Grinding for 6 months, so
yeah.
We've got an actual manager, so this thing's gonna be perfect. So I was gonna answer a few questions, get them out of the way, and then we're gonna leave, and then next episode's gonna be a full one.
Next episode, and yeah, this one's gonna be pretty short. It's just an introduction, like you said. But usually episodes are, what was the longest one we had? An hour 30?
I think an hour and 30 minutes, but I want to go even fucking longer than that shit.
Yeah,
if we've got good guests.
Yeah, if we keep going, we're gonna keep going, but we're not gonna cap ourselves just by cutting topics short. Cause
I'm gonna be doing live episodes like once a month on the Twitch. I feel.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. All right, let's get some questions done. Let's get them out of the way.
Where do you see Dyre in a year to 5 years? I'm gonna read the questions. I'm gonna let Dizzy answer first, and then I'll answer.
And then you'll go in it. Right, I'm gonna go from a year to 3 years to 5 years. So this time next year, I expect Dyre to be have an official team house 100%. Have at least a low end with esports. I don't know whether that's just like one team established or like maybe. I'm not too sure esports wise in a year because it's a complicated process. I'd say we'll be like early steps. Either in esports or we'll have a correct team behind the scenes to make sure that within like at least the year after that we'll definitely be into it. in 3 years, I'd like to think of very established in esports. The house I like to see it would be in the second house by then, like a bigger house with more members. I'd like to imagine we've got some pretty insane sponsors behind who I'd like to think would be, I'd say mid tier to what size team in about 3? I'd say like a mid tier is reasonable. And then 5 years, I'd like what the B would peak without a doubt. I'm seeing like a top tier team fully invested in the esports, with whole roster to be doing this shit for like a job and a living. I want the full thing out of Dyre 100%.
Yeah, and
That's what I want.
my opinion, next year I'm on board with Dizzy. I think we're gonna move into esports a lot quicker than you do, though. I think esports.
I'm very like careful.
I know, but I'm just saying.
We can. You're probably right. Yeah.
We can make baby steps into esports pretty quick. So next year, esports, Dyre House, and hopefully enough income to really sustain ourselves with. I mean, of course, I'm not jumping too far and saying that we're only going to be doing this and that's our only income and we're going to have a house off of. No, I don't think that'll happen in a year. But in 5 years, that is like the only goal for me, for this to be self-sustaining so I can do what I love and live.
I think 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years, I think that's definitely realistic. I mean, you know what's coming. And what's going to stem up.
I know.
I'd give it 2 to 3 years. I mean, being safe, let's say 5 years, 100%.
Exactly.
But I mean, yeah, I agree with that 100%.
All right. How do we go about choosing sponsors?
Like, when I started Dyre, I always agreed, I'm never going to work with a company. And we've dropped many companies because self-beliefs just aren't there. I'm not going to just sell our audience and our fans, people would say, or our followers a brand because we're getting paid to do so. When we look and sit down with the team and management, like what sponsors we're going to go for, we always look for a sponsor that we will self-lead by experience with, or we'll test the product first. And it's stuff that we want to promote to you guys, and we want to vouch for them, and we want to work with them. So that's
Absolutely.
what I look for.
Absolutely.
Like at DC, we got product sent out to our team like this week just to review their stuff, and we're partnered with them. So I think that's definitely the way we do that.
Yep, and me and Diz are on the same boat. I mean, I would never even bring up a company to get a sponsorship from unless I knew that their product was good. And sometimes, sometimes it's a little rushed and we don't make the right choice, but we come to the right choice eventually, and that's all that matters.
We've done it with clothing, and it's learning, and it's all about learning and growing. And I think when the position
Speaking
right
of
now,
clothing,
put the that shit. You can get that on our website. I'm just saying, shameless plug.
It's embroidered. It's nice, bro.
That's embroidered. Holy shit.
It's nice. I can't lie. I just got it today.
Right now, with the position we're in, with the management we've got, the decisions don't get taken lightly. It's a whole range of different, like, investigation by everyone on the team. We're definitely don't rush at those things, and they're like serious conversations we'll have. So, like I said, we only go with companies that we fully believe in.
Yeah, we used to rush, and we learned that from that to not rush, so we don't rush anymore. Who would you like to see as our next sponsors?
Dyre's next sponsor, or sponsors, is it just one, or is it an S?
Sponsors, like, who would you, dream sponsors, who would you want to be, in 5 years, who would you want to be sponsored by?
Steel Series, G Fuel, Scuff, and that's 3 off the top of their head, and they're my main 3, and I'd like to still be working with a DC in that amount of time, and I'd also still like to be partnered with Ewan. So
Ewan, Ewan is a great brand. I really like their chairs.
Incredible brand, holy shit.
And
I know people with those chairs, so I can actually vouch for Ewan.
Yeah, like I love my chair. I got it. Had to have been a year ago around this time. And I mean, it's every time I sit down, it's like the first time I sat. And anyway, my choices for the dream sponsors is Corsair.
Yes, Corsair.
Corsair.
I'm so arrogant.
Hit us up, Corsair. Hit us up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, there are too many for me, and there are too many that I don't want to, talk about because I feel like I might leak something, but
I missed one big one off there for a fucking legal reasons. It was literally legally I couldn't actually say anything. I mean, there's one more off there that is happening, but
Yeah,
that's for
we
another
can't
day.
talk about that. So
That's for another episode.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
back next time. Come back next time.
Come
We might be able to tell you.
All right. When Dire expands into esports, what games do we want to see? I know which games I want to see.
Personally, for me, like again, same for sponsors, I want to watch and have teams that are in games that I love. So I would say Smite, Paladins, Counter-Strike, and for me, that's pretty much all I like really care about right now. I think that's the most realistic, also. So that's my three right now.
Yeah, I mean, I literally CS, Valorant, maybe COD, like a amateur series COD or something like that would be kind of cool. But
I mean, Rocket League maybe.
Maybe. I don't really play Rocket League anymore, so.
Even Valorant, we're working on that right now behind the scenes, you know. So Valorant's definitely up there, but I mean like on stage, main stage shit, you know.
Yeah, no,
Smite,
I got you.
Paladins, and yeah, so that's mine. And this is obviously way more, and obviously in the future, like opportunities get presented here. So
yeah.
I've obviously missed a few things there, but we'll see what happens. See what the future holds.
What are our most important next steps?
Next steps right now is just making sure that the team's tight, everyone's happy, content's flowing, we're making the right financial decisions, we're just working hard and just keeping momentum. That's mainly it, and just getting that space in the community, you know. I think that's all main steps right now.
I agree, and part of me also says, make our plans, stick to our plans. It's the only real thing that I know I need to keep a lookout for, just because I'm pretty bad at it personally, of like saying stuff and then not going through with it, so I know I need to work on that a lot better.
All it's down to is the potential the team's got is it's fucking stupid. It's really it's crazy, and it's just making sure that what we get planned and what we want to be done, like, because we're more than capable of doing it, just getting it fucking done.
Right.
And I think if we do that, we're in for an extremely good future.
Right.
So that's what I think the next steps is, just proving to the community that we belong here and that we've got what it takes to be there, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
all right.
That's my answer.
This is more of a personal question. Why are we doing this? You personally, why are you doing this? Yeah.
When I first started Dyre, I was in not to get deep, like this is for a different video, we'll go over this. I was in like it's just a shitty place, you know. I dropped out of college, like I left my job and I was in a bad place, and I just needed to do something that I loved. And obviously when I grown up, I watched FaZe, I watched all of that shit, and I've always dreamt about either being on a top tier team like that or having my own. And then I was like, you're capable of having your own, like you could do that. And obviously it took us like months of planning with like an old owner, and this like 2 years ago. And I just started that because I've been in teams before. I feel like I'm not appreciated as a content creator, as a person. So I was like, I'm gonna build a community where people can come inside, you know, and people feel appreciated, and build a platform that people can grow on and feel welcomed, where you don't get judged, you don't fucking, you know, just feel involved in the community. And I think like I think we've done that, you know. I definitely think we've built a home for people where they can feel like they're not getting judged, they can put the content out they want, and they've got the support of the management and the team. So
absolutely.
And something to be proud of as well. It's definitely it. Like this is my dream job. I'm literally living a dream right now, and I think pros can admit it. We're nearly there. We're getting there. It's definitely on the cards right now. Like, we're living. This is my dream job, and it sounds stupid because obviously it feels like, why don't I own a gaming team? But like, I've lived and breathed this since I've been about 40 years old. So for me, doing this, it's pride as well. I'm not gonna lie, make my family proud and shit. So yeah. Just lay us to it.
I'm personally doing this because I, as a person, I am a pretty decent leader. Like, naturally, just, like, back in high school, I used to be, like, the leader of my friend groups, you know, and whatever, and so I started to get really into gaming, and then I went into
You're straightforward, and you get with them.
Yeah. I went into a pretty bad place, mentally, and I don't want to say team hopping because I wasn't, but I kind of was at the same time, you know. I wasn't doing it intentionally, that's for sure. And then I saw one of the streamers I looked up to at the time was in this hot new team called Dyre, and I was like, seems like a pretty reasonable team. So I gave myself a few weeks to check it out, see how the people were, and I was like, I really like this team. This team is nice, and so I joined, and I was like, yep, this is it. I love this team. I love these people. I'm staying. And here we are.
Yeah, like even like just as a, even I was the owner later. Like when Pro came to the team, there was something about him. I don't know what it was. We're very similar, and when I spoke on deeper levels, we had the same goals. And I know he wasn't like high and down. He was just a streamer at the time, I'm sure. And I was like, if I'm gonna make this work, I need somebody like him, like with me. Like it's just no way on earth I can do this alone. And then the conversation came around at some bizarre point. I'm sure Dyer was like on the edge of ending, possibly. We were in a bad fucking place when you got ownership. Like we were probably at one of our worst places right then. I can't lie.
Yeah.
We were like, I was ready to just throw in the towel. I mean, not physically, like.
You were ready to give up on Dyer.
I was ready to just, and I needed somebody to be like, yo, like we fucking got this, like don't be an idiot. What we've built so far, like look what you've built, like look what we've built, and look what we're going to keep building, and then Proteus is just fucking history, And here we are, and then what we're going to do as well is going to speak for itself. So
for sure. All right. What makes Dyer stand out to you?
To me, or what makes Dyer stand out?
What makes Dyer stand out? But
what makes Dyer? That's a two-part question. What Dyer stands out to me is this team is different, and that's the most. I've been in many teams before. I've been a streamer. I've been a man. Like I've been in teams, and for one, we don't give a fuck about clout. We don't give a fuck about money. We don't give a fuck about like anything. Like we literally, the only thing that we care about is like our members and how they are progressing and how the team's progressing. And like the approach I went with Dyer was, I don't care about numbers, I don't care about clout. I want to get the right people in the team first. That's got potential and quality over quantity, 100%. And first, build an organization, build a brand, build a community, and then the clout will come later. That's in the future. Like I went for the long term.
Yeah, it's not.
We went long term. Yeah. More than anything, we didn't go like just let's get clout numbers and then fucking give the team a year, make a few thousand, fuck off. Like it was never in my intentions. So that's what stands out with Dyer to me. Like we don't plan to stay in this community and do gaming. Like we want to go on to podcast content, apparel. We want to like branch out. There's so many different things. And I'm not saying other teams aren't. I'm just saying I know that we want to do that and we're going to stick with that and we're going to do it. I'm like content house, like we want to do the whole everything. So I think that's what people don't understand with Dyer. We're not here for fun. We do this because we love to do it, and this is our dream. So
yeah, and that's part of it for me too. What makes Dyer stand out, in my opinion, is it's a family, and a lot of teams say they have a family, as a team. But I've talked to a lot of people that have like joined this team and left to join another team, and they're like, "Man, this team feels nothing like how I felt." And I was like, "I know, I've been telling you."
Come to me and say that. I've had two people.
That's what I'm saying.
And like, I joined this team, and then it just didn't feel right. And I'm like, but I've been mourning you lot for fucking about 6 months now. Like, what Dyer's got, you're not gonna find it anywhere else. I'm telling you, unless you join FaZe or you join like TSM, or you aren't gonna find that shit, and like, it's not gonna happen. It's like
right.
And like Dyer is. Maybe we're just different, man.
Yeah, maybe it's due to size right now, but I mean, I have vowed to never let myself get to the point where if someone personally DMs me and needs something, I'll look at my phone and be like, I'll deal with that later. I will answer that person right away. And
100%.
I hope I never change that.
Never. Yeah, like never. Do you mean like getting an ego? Is that what you mean? Like
right.
An ego?
Right.
No, never. Like, and that's the people betray me as having an ego. I'm probably the most humble. Like, I dropped my fucking life for Dyer. Like, I've not got an ego. Like, I've stopped streaming. I've stopped working on my own brand for Dyer. Like, I mean, even Pro and everyone else that knows me, and obviously you'll understand that over time with the podcast. But that's just not true. And like everything about Dyer that we're a family, like Pro said. So that's the main thing that makes us unique. And we actually are a family, like you said. People say that we are and not. So
Yeah. All right,
So,
I'm gonna
that's
skip
amazing.
one question. We'll talk about that last because we should have
Yes,
talked
sir.
about it right after the second one, but I forgot about it. How
It's
did each
okay.
owner get their position?
I mean, mine's pretty obvious. I fucking start the team from day one, you know.
I mean, we
I
kind
was
of talked about me too, so
the team, so that's pretty self-explanatory.
yeah. I worked
And then
my way
obviously Cody's
from
your head coach, right?
yeah, I worked my way from streamer, and then I was a manager, I think,
Yeah,
and then
you're
I was an
general manager.
overall, and then I went from overall to owner, and that was over the course of like a year, probably.
10 months. I'd say about 10 months seems about right. I'd say about 10 months to a year.
No, it's got to be a year
That's
because I joined. The first time I joined was
all that is, yeah.
early 2019 when I joined.
True, that is true. That is true. Yeah, probably
But
actually,
anyway,
yeah, it was around. It was fucking a year. That's just it. Yeah.
yeah, and Story, he joined as a manager, proved himself, got overall lead, proved himself yet again. I had faith in him that he could really step up as an owner, and so I was like, "Hey, yo, Dizzy, let's talk to him about it, see what happens."
The main thing with what it comes down to the story is it's just simple. Like his love for the team is
It's
and I
very
know that people
apparent.
should always like because obviously I created Dyre and like the love I've got for it. Like I'm not seeing this any like I don't know how a lot of people feel about Dyre, but like I should probably love the team more than anyone else. I've been here from day one. Like I've created this team and like, but just something about story like his attitude and
He is
his
very
love,
passionate.
passion.
Yeah.
His passion is fucking. You'll say that though. Like I'll not speak too much about him because he's not here. I'll let you like work it out for yourself. But he's a passionate guy and he's got a ton of potential for being only 18 years old.
Definitely.
And I'm very confident in having him in the role he's got. So
definitely. And he's close to me, so if he fucks up, I can just go,
yeah,
knock his door down.
Yeah,
All right.
fucking down.
All right, last question. What is the first thing we do at the Dyre House?
If I hit pro, I'll give him a cuddle. It's one of them. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how things go.
Why not both? Come on now.
I mean, we're
just
gonna have a cuddle and then just have it bite straight away.
yeah,
Honestly,
just
mine,
come through the door swinging, just motherfucker.
oh no, I mean, I don't know, man. I've tried not to think about it too much because it's like.
I mean, it's still a
Is
bit.
it good?
It's a ways away, but yeah, I mean,
It's bittersweet, but it's a touchy subject 'cause it's something I've dreamt of. So like, I don't actually know. I could sit here and tell you some bullshit story that thing's gonna happen and it's gonna go like.
oh no, I can
way.
tell you the exact thing that's gonna happen the first night in the Dyre House is a party. That's exactly what's
I mean,
gonna
you
happen.
oh my god, you best believe it. I'm 21 now. I was when I was originally meant to move over. I was only like 20. Like
Yeah.
I'll be 21 now. Like I just want to go in there, just get. Obviously, I'll be jet lagged. Get the bearings going, get comfortable, and just instantly like within that week start making content.
Oh
Start
yeah,
building the structure for Dyre, like in a professional environment.
absolutely.
Like I said, like this is serious, though. Like this house is going to be the head, like a HQ for Dyre. It's going to be the heart of the team.
And it's also gonna be hit or miss, and we know that. But with how we've been going, it's definitely not gonna be a miss. Let me tell you.
what I can promise you now is this house will either be the making of a worldwide brand or it's going to be the end of a failed esports attempt. Yeah. It's just it sounds like, and it hurts to say that because it's the harsh reality of this. But yeah. I knew this before getting into it, And Pro knows that as well. We know that.
Yeah, but, and that's why I said it's going to be a hit or miss. But the way we're going,
and I'll bank on it now. It's going to be a hit. I'm telling you now. It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
All right, that's all the questions I got.
All the questions, but yeah, like I'm seeing this just in volume 2 of the first podcast, so gonna have more guests, more episodes, more topics, more fun, and you're gonna see different sides. So obviously today it's a bit serious, We want to just give you a legit introduction, but you'll see the real Pro and Dizzy, not the one that's on Twitter. So I'm excited.
Let me just scroll through the Twitter real quick and make sure there's no other ones that I missed.
Oh, but keep an eye out on our YouTube or Twitter for a review video of Dizzy products as well.
Yeah, it's
we've
definitely
got a review video of their products coming up, and we've got an even race one of Proteus coming up as well. So keep an eye out for that. And a huge announcement coming in about.
I did miss one.
3 to 4 weeks. So also that's the biggest announcement in 2 years. So please, I fucking beg, you need to just keep an eye out for that, please.
I
Alright,
did
what's the last
miss
question?
one from Klamath, so you know it's
Oh
a
my
good
god,
one.
yeah. His questions were fucking sick.
How do you plan to avoid making mistakes that have been made by other organizations to keep Dyre moving forward?
This was huge for me at the start. I'd made a lot of mistakes. Like I made dangerous mistakes. Nothing like bad, like nothing like creating them. I just made silly young mistakes, you know. And how am I going to avoid them again? Is honestly experience. You know, I think I've learned a lot, and I've learned what I've taught and what I've learned and went through. Like I'm gonna like I've passed on to Proteus. You know, he's watched me go through it. He's watched me change. He's watched me go through it. So for him, how will he avoid it? He's watched me go through it. He watched me and other teams go through it. But how will I like maintain that? I'm going to just watch other teams, just common sense, research, mature as a person, and just make sure that every decision I make, I put it through management and people I trust,
Yeah,
and just make sure every decision I make has a positive end goal and not take any silly risks.
Yep, that's pretty much where I stand with that as well. I mean, just make sure I've got my management is people that I know have only the best in mind for Dyre, and I make every decision through them. Like every decision that happens has to go through at least a couple people that say, "Hey, yeah, that's a pretty good idea." Like,
I mean, let's be honest. There's going to be times where we do hit. Well, we are going to probably hit the brakes a couple of times. We're all going to mess up. It's not going to be major stuff.
yeah,
But it's going to be what you've got to think. It's just a lesson, you know, and it's stuff we're definitely going to learn from. So
yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and lie and say we're not going to make mistakes because
Oh yeah, that's definitely
like every
gonna
other
happen.
team, like you see all the mainstream like organizations and brands making mistakes, but
Yeah,
their mistakes are just going to be things that we'll just take away from it, you know.
keep
But
moving forward.
mainly, all in all, just experience, just maturing, you know, and making sure we've got the right people around with Dyre, which right now we have.
All right, that's
So
it.
that's it.
Thanks
Right,
for coming
much
by.
love.
We'll see you
Check
guys.
the
Oh
descriptions
fuck.
for sponsors and shit, and we'll see you
Yeah.
next time.
See you next time.
Peace.